everyone. Lisa Haven here. Well, bizarre things are now unfolding all across the globe, and these bizarre events are shaking the very foundations of everything we thought we once knew. I mean, our lives are completely changing, and they're not changing for the better. I'll be quite frankly honest, they're changing for the worse. Everything from rumors of war to war talks here in the United States of America, tensions really building up between Russia, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, and of course the United States of America, NATO, all of that. We also have a disturbing issues, economically speaking, due to these measures and mandates that are constantly being pushed by the Democratic Party. If they're allowed to continue in office and we don't get the right people in 2022, we're literally screwed. Our economy is screwed. We're inflating ourselves, and the Democratic Party is purposely leading us into a destruction path. And then we also have, on top of it all, really strange and bizarre weather that is happening across the globe and even here in the United States of America. So many things that you absolutely need to know about. And I want to kind of do an all-encompassing report with some of this stuff, because the bottom line here is I don't see our country headed down the right path at this time. And we're headed to some very turbulent area. And I really hope you are prepared for that. That said, let's get into the economic truth about what's really going on in the United States of America. And I've kind of done a few articles on this, but this is on King World News, and it says, Greiser, the world has now entered the first of 4 major phases of chaos and financial destruction. And this is Egon von Greiser is basically the founder of Matterhorn Asset Management there in Switzerland. So he's got a lot of massive credentials to say what he's saying. Then we also have here a massive slide by the Dow. We have Dow slides 430 points as Omicron fear way in. So basically, the more fear that's coming in, this is really messing with the Dow, with our stocks, with everything. Then we also have CBS Baltimore. Here's how Omicron could make the supply chain mess even worse. And here's the bottom line. We all know that we have a shipping crisis, a supply chain crisis. The Biden administration, as I have revealed before, is purposefully making matters worse. He's putting regulations on boaters, EPA regulations on boaters, causing them to leave the state of California, or these massive burdens where they have to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars to update their ship as of a certain time. This is going to add to the crisis, not make it better. Then we also have policies being put in by these Democratic leaders. And the goal here is to purposefully destroy the United States of America. I really have no other alternative for it outside of pure stupidity. But things are going to get worse. And the more fear that they push with this new variant, the worse it is going to get, folks, because they're already pushing more lockdowns, mandates, and measures. You know, Joe Biden is set to make a major announcement today to the unvaccinated people and the whole 9 yards. I'm just tired of it. But on top of that, we had, during the length of the pandemic, food banks running short. That's currently happening. We have massive lines for some food banks, not all. We have people being laid off en masse because of these mandates. And I can only imagine what happens as the Supreme Court ruling with these business vaccine mandates. I really hope they sit on the side of the Constitution, because it will destroy our country even more. Then we have the Biden administration giving people massive amounts of money to stay home. However, now that money has changed to the hand of families and parents, and the bigger those paychecks get, the more that even say parents are going to start staying home, causing more crisis on our economy. And bottom line, our inflation is through the roof, and it's not getting better. And at least they finally admit that. And when they finally admitted that, it seems that's when things start even getting worse. But hopefully you are prepared for that. Again, get to Restrictive Republic. I've got exclusive content on there, and we give you good ideas there. But anyhow, a second thing that is really breaking out that doesn't get enough attention, because they're so focused on woke policies and destroying America, is the fact that we are literally on the brink of war. Here's a great article that I found by the Economic Collapse blog, Michael Snyder, who ran for office once, but it's 7 signs that war with Russia just got even closer. And here's some of the things that he says that I've also said in my broadcast as well. First of all, Ukraine was just told that it will eventually be allowed to join NATO. We all know Putin doesn't want that. He's gritched about it already. This is a huge problem. Then we have Ukraine, which had shocked the world by opening up bomb shelters. They're opening up bomb shelters. Number 3, ABC's Martha is reporting that after Joe Biden's call with Putin, Russia then added 10,000 more troops to the border there in Ukraine. Why is this a problem? Well, it shows that Putin, well, basically he said F you to Joe Biden. That's what he said. He said, F you, Joe Biden, I'm adding more troops. And this is a real in-your-face move by Putin to the American people, and specifically Joe Biden. Number 4, the EU is warning of massive costs for Russia if there is more aggression towards Ukraine. 5, the banks in Belarus are preparing to switch Russia's version of SWIFT due to the imminent sanctions by the West. That could have serious repercussions. 6, it is being reported that Russia has begun to move toward short-range surface-to-air missiles systems to the border with Ukraine. And 7, a bipartisan group of U.S. senators wants to formally designate Russia a terrorist state. And of course, Russia is not happy about that at all. Of course they wouldn't be. But the other thing that we need to think about, and I brought this up before, is Russia and Xi Jinping, Putin and Xi Jinping, Russia and China are buddying up. And when we're at tensions with Russia and at tensions with China, between China and Taiwan, if there's an alliance between Russia and China, imagine a joint effort of and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I think it's a possibility, right? Of China going after Taiwan at the same time Russia goes after Ukraine. What would the United States of America do? And here's some of that, a joint effort, if you will. The sun.co.uk, threat to the West, how Russia's deadly new military alliance with China could end America's status as world-leading superpower. We're talking nuclear power super countries, if you will, joining together. And then we also have this, the New Yorker, Russia and China affirm growing alliance amid deepening tensions with the West. Now, they have this alliance growing because both of them have something that they want to gain from either Taiwan or Ukraine, right? There is something brewing that we cannot ignore between Russia, the United States, China, Ukraine, Taiwan, NATO, all of that. We need to definitely keep our eyes open. Meanwhile, we have some bizarre weather, which are normal parts of the climate cycle. I'm going to put it that way. But here we have the weatherchannel.com. And this is kind of a lot of bizarre stuff that's happening in the weather. And it says, and this is the weatherchannel.com, but the most bizarre and notable things from the December windstorm and severe outbreaks. And here's what it says. One of the most bizarre December storms whipped through the Rockies, the plains of the Midwest. Severe weather is extremely rare for December in parts of the upper Midwest. So we've got some weird things going on there, but it's not just there. There's also wildfires that have broken out in Kansas, such as Candace Reflector. Ball of rolling fire and smoke. Wildfires ripped through north central Kansas. Kansas Forest Service estimates more than 400,000 acres across the state that were affected, primarily from blazes northwest of Hays. And this also infected massive amounts of cattle. Hundreds of cattle burned alive as cattle rancher loses house, barns, livestock, and uncontrollable wildfires there as well. We also have this going on, the Kentucky tornado that we all heard about, and my heart goes out to all the people impacted by any of these events. But this is Fox News. Kentucky tornado death toll climbs to over 80, including children, governor says. And this is a lot of people that were impacted by all these tornadoes. Then we also have Northern California that was recently hit by an earthquake. Northern California is hit by a 6.2 earthquake that shattered windows and sent frightened locals fleeing outdoors. Sheriff said Trevor was the strongest that he had felt in 2010. Good thing is it didn't happen in a massive area and it did minor damage, but we have all kinds of shaking and quaking going on. Here's Kiro 7. More than 60 earthquakes have occurred off the Oregon coast. And of course, all of these together are wildfires, are earthquakes, are volcanic activity. I didn't even bring up the volcanic activity. We have a lot of stuff going on in Hawaii and other places, but all of this have costed us billions of dollars. Here's this, and this is on National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, and it says record number of billion-dollar disasters struck the United States in 2020. This stuff is costing us tons and tons of money on top of an already broke and hurt society. One last bizarre thing that I want to throw out your way is this, and this is on AccuWeather. I just found it interesting. And it says, mega comet 60 miles wide is about to fly through the solar system. And it goes on to say in this article, and I'm going to scroll down a little bit, it says, the comet, which they've named, is already closer to the sun than Neptune, but it will not even reach the orbit of Saturn in 2031 before it starts the long journey back to the far reaches of the solar system. Given the current projections, a telescope will be needed to spot the comet in the sky since it will remain far away from the Earth, but it could still surprise onlookers in 2031. So these are predictions, if you will, for 2031. But there you have it. Lots of things are rocking our country, and I didn't even get into the mandates and the measures and the political nature of it. But the bottom line here is we're really on a destructive and unstable path. When you take all these things together, the weather is going to have repercussions on our food supply, which we already have repercussions from that due to the labor shortages and the mandates and measures being pushed by the Biden administration. We have our economy like exploding on inflation. And of course, we have war. And that could literally devastate us, especially, and God forbid it ever happens, but especially if it was some kind of nuclear war, which I would pray to God that would not be the case. Anyhow, I wanted to kind of throw all that in your direction. Please don't forget, this is one way you can absolutely be prepared, is with food storage. Go to preparewithlisa.com. They've got some amazing prices on these food kits. I've got a very huge 3-month emergency food supply kit that you need to check out. It's $100 off right now just by going to Prepare with Lisa. But it's got everything in it. It's got your 2,000 calories per day, which you're going to want when you're shy or malnourished from not having food that you need, if you will. And it's in durable containers so that it's packed, and it has a 25-year shelf life, and you get breakfast, lunch, dinners, drinks, snacks, the whole 9 yards. But go to preparewithlisa.com. Make sure you have food storage. And the reason that I chose Patriot Supply at Prepare with Lisa is because they prepared when everybody didn't. They have the food. They will send it to your way when you need it. So it's also a good gift to give somebody this Christmas. I tend to buy it for my parents every Christmas season. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.